I really want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Educators Consortium for Service Learning is in its 25th year. We work really hard to try and fulfill your needs to enrich your service learning practice. And today is going to be an exceptional workshop. We have really a lot of special things to cover. So the first thing I want to do, though, is there's a couple things to cover really quickly because we usually run on time, but I was giving people time to arrive. ECSL, as some of you know, lost one of its guiding spirits this February, right after the last workshop, which is Ann Nelson, who's just a very special person, and she was the one that created our spirit dolls. Those of you who have been to the fall meetings know we give an award to someone who's really stepped up to help ECSL grow. So I'd like to observe just a moment of silence to honor Ann's spirit, who's going to live on in all of our work and in the dolls that we all cherish so much. So I just want to thank Ann. And I know she greatly appreciates all of our thoughts because her heart was in ECSL. That being said, we all get awards who attend the 3 workshops that we honor all year because it really is a 3-part series that we go through. And all of the schools that have their representatives that have been at all 3 workshops this year, I'll be passing out your certificate. It's really wonderful in the administration offices or in parent interview rooms who might be interested in coming to your schools. But mostly it's a tribute to those of you from your schools who take the time from busy schedules, especially in spring now when there's so much going on. So we really cherish your participation today. Also, I want to, before we get into the program, and I'm really zipping because we started a little late, we want to thank Nina and all the people here at the Oaks who have just been so exceptional. For providing us with this really amazing learning environment with their students that wait to hear from these students. I love them all already. You guys are so cool. So with it. Anyway, you'll be hearing from them shortly. We're honored to have Kathy Berger-Kay with us today. She's read the complete guide to service learning that even has a CD disc. This is the 2nd volume. She has a few of them here today that are available. Those of you who are new to service learning, this is your Bible. We're in the chapel. This is your service learning Bible. So that's one who you can connect with. And also special thanks to Marissa, who you'll be meeting today too, who is our right hand at ECSL. I think I pretty much covered it. The backside of the agendas have all sorts of tips and references and resources that you guys can go to. All we really do is whet your appetite. Hopefully you leave with a billion new ideas and inspiration. We're here anytime, 24/7 to answer your questions, your needs, connect you with people, and to help you grow a meaningful service learning practice. Every year I always say this is so much more critical. We really need to help cure our world and the ills, and now it's just kind of like, I can't even believe what's going on. So these are our precious future who are sitting here joining us today, and I thank you, young students, for being here and the teachers. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Kathy Berger-Kay.
Isabel?
Hello and welcome to the Oak School. We would like to acknowledge that we are on the ancestral homelands of the Tonga people and acknowledge that many urban indigenous people travel and reside on these lands. To respect the land through acknowledgement is to know the true history and ancestral gifts of this space. If you can, please give us a moment of silence.
Hi, everyone. So, students, you guys are going to speak after I speak. They're all ready to go. They're like, that's my turn. It's my turn. So again, thank you for being here, and a special thank you to Nicole for coordinating everything and making sure everything was set up, and just being my light in civic engagement. So thank you. So I was asked to talk a little bit in a planning call. We had a conversation, and it came up about how the Oaks has done service learning and launched it. And I was asked to talk a little bit about what that process has been, especially since we're also one of the schools that is a K through 6 and has been able to find ways in which to incorporate service learning into our curriculum. So thank you for allowing me to do this. Actually, the journey started several years ago when Ted became the head of school here at the Oak School. He had a vision of creating a school that had social justice and multiple perspectives seamlessly included into the curriculum. And so to start that work, he and Patty, the assistant head of school, launched on this idea that we have to start on the inside out. So really what we did was we started working with teachers and started training. We hired a long-term group of people to help us with that work in order to get the teachers so that they were comfortable enough to be able to talk about topics of race, gender, and any core cultural identifier that came up. And so spent a good 4 years working with teachers. And with that, it started seeping in to the curriculum. It wasn't a mandate, but it started seeping into the curriculum because once the cultural change is that you have to start with yourself. If you're going to affect change in the world, that change has to start with self. And so once you learn what you learn, you can never go back. And so teachers automatically started getting diversity and inclusion ideas into the curriculum and changed the perspectives in which they were teaching from. We don't teach from Columbus's perspective. We teach from the perspective of everyone who was there. And Columbus went on trial and he was jailed for it. So our 5th graders did that year before last. And so then Patty, in her position, supported the faculty in terms of how do we get different perspectives into the curriculum. We don't have to change our curriculum. We don't have to change history, the history topics that we teach. It's the way in which we teach them is what we decided we needed to do. So in doing this work for 4 or 5 years, it built capacity that the school could no longer meet, hence me. So they decided that we needed more administrative support for faculty and staff, and someone who had worked in diversity and inclusion and did admissions, which is extremely important. And the civic engagement part of it, someone to go out into the community and start making the connections. And so my job was conceived. And that's exactly why I was brought here, to bring my full self to this position in order to help to move our diversity and inclusion work forward. And with that, I had been to meetings before, and I knew that there was a huge difference between community service and service learning. And so when I got here, it was one of the things that I said, we can do this. This is one of those things we can do. We can move from a community service model where we're putting Band-Aids on things, and we can do things that tie to the curriculum because the teachers are already teaching what the kids need to know. The important part of that is that we also felt it was important before we started service learning that our kids also had critical skills to be able to engage in the communities that we were asking them to. So we had to start with the administration, the teachers, and the students and the parents, because they have to know how to interact with people that don't necessarily look like them or have the same experience as them. And so our students are ready for that now. And they've already outgrown our capacity. So anyway, so I started the service learning program. We hired Nicole because I couldn't also be in the classroom. I already had 10 hats on. I couldn't also be in the classroom all the time, and so Nicole supports student leadership and service learning in the 5th and 6th grade weekly, 3rd and 4th grade monthly, and then and K through 2nd we're going to build in next year. And so now the students are starting their investigation stage of what they want to do coming up, and so they are going to tell you a little bit about what that is. But I guess in students, you can come on up. Just the moral of the story is that service learning is diversity and inclusion work, and diversity and inclusion work has to live alongside service learning as we notice.
Hi, my name is Mila and I'm from 3rd grade.
Hi, my name is Omar and I am also from 3rd grade.
In our class, we have been studying from service learning about climate change and pollution. I'm going to be talking about why pollution and climate change is bad, and she's going to be talking about the benefits of our project and how it could help us in the real world.
We are creating a better world for ourselves and our kids who come behind me.
What's bad about pollution is that it intoxicates our air, which could lead to a whole world crisis, and that could make our air harder to breathe for us. And climate change affects not just our crops, it affects our lifestyles with sudden climate change, and our icebergs are slowly melting, which could affect our life on land.
Hi, my name is Chloe and I'm from the 4th grade.
Hi, my name is Christian and I'm from the 4th grade.
I am going to be telling you the benefits of stopping homelessness and teenagers. So, one thing that we are trying to stop is trying to stop putting a Band-Aid on the situation and fixing the broken bone. So
I'm going to tell you how this really helps you as a person. So it helps you really to learn about all the different kinds of people that there is and trying to help them. Not like have what we kind of have, and yeah.
Hello, my name is Linus. I'm from the 6th grade.
hi, my name is Isabel and I'm from the 6th grade.
Hi, my name is Delilah, and I'm also in 6th grade.
And this is our service learning project.
We are learning to effectively work with others in the local government to get things done.
The actions and conditions to get safety signs would be to first talk with the government, make a claim for your case, find a location, see how much money it costs, and then actually get the sign.
We have already gotten very far in achieving our goal. We have already gotten a safety school sign on Franklin, that's right next to our school. And we also really want to thank Nicole for helping us achieve our goal.
We want to thank you all for being here and having the patience to listen to our thoughts in the Oak School.